Bro, what the fuck is going on? Wait, I get better views than her. What's happening?
Whether it was the way that I spoke, the music I listened to.
Crumbling? Yo, what the heck? I get more views than this person. Wait. She's worthless. This is irresponsible platforming. She's not worth my time. Look at that. The grift is in shambles, man. She tried to debate CRT and got bodied. Wait, where is that? Let me see that shit. Do you guys know where that was? The grift episode 1. Oh, is she just letting it all out? Letting it all out now? Ripperino Cappuccino. She's left baiting with that undercut. Yeah, a little bit. She looks like a character from Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? Christian Watson. Do you see this like clown? Does this guy even like make shit anymore? It's like another one of these like, hey, I'm a black person, but I don't help black people, and this is my whole, and that's his whole like thing. Cause I've seen this guy before and he's like a clown. OnlyFans sex worker talks romance and porn ban. Wait, oh no. The left hates me? I mean, I don't know why we'd like you. Why SCOTUS allowing evictions is good. Oh, he's a ghoul. Oh, he's a ghoul.
Are you the kind of person who lives in the moment, who sees a moment for what it is and takes as much as he can out of that moment and then uses that to go forward in life? Because there are a few kind of folks in this world. There's people who live for the moment and get as much as they can out of any particular moment, which can be a very good thing, by the way. Then there are folks who are so focused on the future or the past that they neglect the moment and they're not able to appreciate what's happening now and then. So there are many different ways to view life, view reality. Are you the kind of guy that likes...
What are these questions?
Please be as open or not...
Young. And...
That was the question.
Yeah.
You were stuck. So the question was, I've kind of lost my train of thought as well. Excuse me. The question was, what was the question? The question was, okay, yes. Have you ever thought you'd be doing this kind of work? That was the question.
Yeah.
Okay. These are, I'm not feeling this. I feel like he maybe should have written down a couple more questions. I feel like this is really painfully awkward. It is. It's only 9 minutes in and I feel like he's run out of questions. You know what I mean? He is no longer a gay conservative. Wait, what happened? What happened to his great fallout with other conservatives? What happened?
That really has molded, for good or for ill, the perceptions, sensibilities, and activities of people our age, especially. Now, there are a lot of folks who are much older who don't deal with this kind of stuff. They still read the newspaper, the physical newspaper. They still have it in their town. You know, some of them have flip phones. I mean, they may go on Facebook sometimes, but that's about it. Whereas our lives are a lot of our lives kind of just live on the internet. So how do you think this has impacted, particularly, let's do this by area, how young folks have interacted with the political realm?
Yeah, he made it to Milo's conversion camp, and now he's doing his own thing now. Did he stop being gay? Or this is what I want to find out. Did he stop being gay? Did he stop being conservative? Did he stop being like both? Like what happened? He said no longer a gay conservative. Watch him be like, I am no longer a gay conservative. I am a gay right-leaning centrist. Okay.
How has this impacted?
That's a great question. I think the more we see people throwing up their political associations and identities and what they believe in, like kind of just all at once, kind of in your face. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with, like, I know you have the rainbow emoji in your Twitter bio. I think that's fine. But I think if everything that you do...
There's a reason for that.
Oh yeah, no, sure. Well, do you want to...
Yes, because I've had a lot of folks ask me about this. Christian, why is there the rainbow flag emoji in your Twitter bio? Okay, I do it for a few reasons. Number one, I want to make it very clear to people
that I am homosexual.
And I hate that I have to even do this. There are some people when they find me online, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I did a Tom McDonald reaction video one time," and no, I didn't actually. I did an NF. NF is this Christian rapper. I did an NF reaction video one time, and there were these people in the comments saying, "Oh my God, you're a prophet," or "You're a great man of God," and "Oh my God, you need to be leading the church somewhere." I'm like, "Hold on, man, hold on." You know, no, what? I'm not what? I'm like, you know what? I wonder if you would be saying that if you knew if you knew a lot of part of me. A certain part of me, rather.
Yeah.
And so I want people to be informed when they make comments about me.
Sure. Fair enough.
Now, having said that, I put that in my bio a year or two ago. Okay. And that was when, and I'll be very honest with you, that was when I was trying to be, there was a point in my life where I said, I'm going to be the gay libertarian, the gay conservative, and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to win this culture war as the gay conservative.
Sure.
Now,
oh, geez. Oh my gosh. Like, that is so weird. Have any of you guys, like, heard from your political commentators, your streamers, like on the left? Have you ever heard of them talk about themselves and their identity and what they're doing on here in such a shallow and vain way? I mean, I'm going to be King Idpol. Like, what? Why? Why is this how you come to this conference? That has never happened to me. I'm not in this space because I was like, I'm going to be the black straight debate bro. I'm going to be the bread tuber. I'm going to be the debate bro, dirtbag bread tuber. This is what I'm going to be. That's it. I've found my niche. That I've never done that before. I just like, I mean, I want to make political videos. I want to make a community where people can feel comfortable and share their ideas and understand and be and have fun and learn about politics. That's what I wanted to be. That's how I got here. Like, but this guy, I'm gonna be the black libertarian. Like, that seems so shallow. It's so lame. It's so idpol. Black debate bro, so original. Yeah, I looked at the Twitch politics in the debate bro space, and I was like, man, I need to spice things up a little bit. How do I become original in this in a sea of copies? I got it. I'll be black. And boom, and here we are 1.5 years later. Look at us now, mom. Look at me now. I didn't even Vosh was like, I'm gonna be the debate bro, the dirtbag debate bro secret. See, he may have been like, I'm gonna be the debate bro, but he didn't say I'm gonna be the white ponytail debate bro. He didn't say that. Hi, what's up?
Over the past 9 months or so, I began to realize that kind of thing, typecasting myself as the gay conservative, is what people would see me as forever if I settled in that position.
That one branding, like what you were doing is you were branding yourself as a thing, and there's sort of like power to the brand, and people follow that brand because, oh look, it's so unusual to see a gay conservative. Oh, look at this.
And then that's all I would be, though.
Right.
All I would be. And I realized, you know what, Chris, you have so much more to offer this world than simply who you like to have sex with or whatever, who you are sexually attracted to. You have so much more. As Walt Whitman said, you contain multitudes. Even if you contradict yourself, it's okay because you contain so many multitudes within you. You know those multitudes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, if you take that multitudes thing seriously, like 100 characters in your Twitter bio is not enough to fit all of the multitudes of your personality. Right. So
I mentioned before.
What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is this channel? Who the fuck? What the hell is this guy? I'm sorry. I've rarely been so lost watching a video like this before, but this man genuinely makes me lost. And I'm not sure if I'm just having a bad ADHD day or like what's going on, but like, yes, like really, it's even shittier Tim Pool. It's just like, I cannot hold on to this man's words. He's like speaking in circles in a really weird way. It's just like a therapy session accidentally streamed.
And this sort of singularity, essentialization of the human being as one part of themselves has been one of the greatest historical atrocities, has led to some of the greatest historical atrocities in humankind, history of humankind, or mankind rather. Sure. The witch trials.
I can't. I'm sorry. Anyways, I should have just watched this before. I didn't know that this was actually just like an incredible, like listening to this guy. I didn't know it would be this big of a waste of time. I thought that I was going to get at least something. Deliver your multitudes in me, daddy. And give me their multitudes. Yeah, this is like I've been talking to some girls on Tinder, and I've matched with women who've told me about their stone collection that they charge in the moonlight and that they'd hide in my room if I ever had them over. That made more sense than this guy. And you know what? At least the girls who did that stuff had my best interest in mind. All right? This person doesn't. Anyways, so this guy, he dropped a video about why SCOTUS allowing evictions is good. Let's see why he thinks kicking people out of their homes is good.
And I'll tell you why in a few moments. But my friends, before I get started, as I always say, thank you for coming and listening to me and watching me as of the recording of this video. Last week, probably when the video goes up.
Why is he so close?
The United States Supreme Court made a decision which shook the core of the progressive movement and the conscience of many people in America, even who were not progressive, but primarily the progressive movement. And this was a decision to get rid of and reject the CDC's eviction moratorium on the grounds that the eviction moratorium was illegitimate because the CDC does not have the power or the authority to extend the eviction moratorium without congressional approval. So it is probably good to realize what this ruling is and what this ruling is not. This ruling is not a statement of moral principles, although I so sorely wish it was. But unfortunately, our courts are bound and tied up with so much case law, which is in many cases adhered to as precedent and not actually evaluated for the moral contents of it. So this
The moral content? What the fuck does that mean? The moral contents of it? Wait, you do know their job is to uphold like the Constitution, right? Like what type of world do you want where what's happening? What is this guy? Like they need to take up the moral contents. What the fuck? Then I guess you'd be just like perfectly fine with those. I hope this guy never complains about activist judges on the left or anything, because if that's the case, then he's just an absolute 100% clown. He talked about how he's fine with contradictions. If he's just gonna like let that contradiction fly, I'm not gonna let him. And just be like, nah, this is clownery. This is ridiculous. We want them to rule on law. We want those laws to be based in morality. Not his, because his seemed like really bad, but we want our laws to be based in a sort of morality, but we want the judges to rule on what the laws are. That's how the system works.
This is a matter of process, not necessarily a matter of morals. So the court didn't say the CDC does something morally wrong by forcing landlords to keep people on their property they didn't want to keep on their property. The court simply said, well, you can't necessarily say that, CDC. You have to go through Congress. Maybe Congress can actually do that. So that itself is a tragedy, but that's not going to be the focus of this video.
That's a tragedy. Pepe hands for those poor landlords having the awful, terrible plight on them, as in people on their property who they rented out to getting to live there and not being on the street. Honestly, this is one of the great, I'm sorry, but like the couple million people that were on that are on like landlord property who haven't been evicted yet is actually more detrimental to the fabric of humankind than the millions of people that died of COVID. You know, that's you know, that's a little drop in the bucket. That's just like a meme. That's a sneeze, you know, whatever. Couple million people dying of COVID. But have you ever thought about how like a family of 4 is not on the street right now because their landlord wasn't able to kick them out? Like, I cry every night. I cry literally every night for landlords thinking about that shit. Honestly. Wait a second. I saw something crazy. Let me see if I can bring this up for you guys really quick. Woman with 3 properties left homeless because tenants couldn't be evicted. Honestly, one of the most amazing headlines I've seen in my entire life. Bruh, it's the biggest bruh moment I've seen in my entire life. Yo, what the fuck's happening? Three properties. 3 properties and you end up on the street. Really? There's so much for being a man. Who's gonna stand up for the mom and pop landlords, chief? This just in: owner of food hoard has begun to starve. Like, yo, dude, what's going on? Damn, they should get a job. They should have thought about getting a job. This shit's crazy, man. Brandy LaCase, who's owed more than $23,000 in rent from 3 properties, said she and her daughter are currently living out of their car or staying with friends because their tenants have stopped paying rent and refused to move out amid the COVID-19 pandemic. I've cried many nights thinking, where's my money? What the fuck? I don't understand how they can give my property to someone to live for free. I bought that property. I fixed it with my blood, sweat, and tears. This person is... it is a little bit of a get fucked situation. 3 properties and you're homeless? This is just wild to me, personally. I can't believe they won't allow me to make people homeless, man. Have you think of the humanity? One of LaCasa's tenants, Clara MacArthur, was approved for rent relief in New York, but it's still not been paid to her landlord. MacArthur said she can't afford rent and she has to pay her. Listen to this. MacArthur. This is the tenant. All right. This is the tenant. MacArthur said she can't afford rent as she has to pay for childcare costs for her daughter and autistic son. Where's my money? It's the massive disparity between these 2 human beings is actually comical. This is something that would be written up in a TV show about lives over like property and money. This seems like an allegory. Like literally. Like I cry every day thinking about how that disgusting family with their autistic son is allowed to live in my home and I don't have money. Like, this is just This is like an allegory. It's just like an old German tale written in like an old dusty book that you find in the bookstore. This shit's wild. I feel bad for her not being able to pay her rent. We've gone from 2 incomes. I had COVID twice. All my kids have got COVID. My husband had it once. We've all been affected by the virus. MacArthur said that she worries that her family will be left homeless once the moratorium has been lifted and Lacoste evicts them. So she's gonna put these people in that situation. Be like, hey, yo, fuck them kids. She is straight up like, fuck them kids. Like, literally. You know what? You know what's the cherry on top? You know what's the cherry on top? Actually, look, LaCase isn't just some random rinky-dink, like, dumb fuck landlord. No. Earlier this year, LaCase was one of 5 landlords who launched a lawsuit against the state court administration and county sheriffs in an attempt to block the enforcement of a statewide ban on evictions. So LaCase wasn't even one of those landlords who were like, oh yeah, like I don't want my people to get evicted. I think it's really important that humans have a place to live, you know, but I just need to really make sure that I pay all my bills to the bank. So I want to work with my tenants. No, she wanted to ban these people outright the second she had them. She was literally like, fuck them kids. Like that was the first thing out of her mouth when she saw COVID hit. She's like, where's my money? Where's my money? They allege that they trampled on their constitutional rights. So yeah, and that's what's going on. Thankfully, right now, there was a ban on evictions that expired on the 31st. I'm not sure where the story has gone now, but New York could uphold like another eviction moratorium, which would be great, which is great. I just wanted to show you guys this like shit. Oh my gosh, we're met with this guy's mug again. I was actually really enjoying reading about that clown, but now we're met with this one. I wanted to just show you guys that case because I was like, man, just to give you a little like backdrop to what this guy's talking about, okay?
Many individuals, however, many progressives particularly, decided they were going to evaluate this ruling in terms of how they feel, not in terms of the actuality of the ethics of this feeling. So, for example, Robert Reich, one of the most prominent progressive intellectuals in the country, a former Clinton administration individual, said that the Supreme Court was using partisan tools to throw people from their homes, and that this was a moral tragedy, and this was the same kind of thinking that so many other people had about this issue.
Now, it is up for the actuality. It is up for debate whether or not the CDC has the authority to cancel evictions nationwide. That is true, but if we're going to be going off his framework that we should be thinking about everything that pertains to laws strictly because of morality, then this is a morally wrong decision. It's bad to kick people out into the streets during a pandemic. It's going to make everything worse. Those landlords who could still like afford rent, still have a massive amounts of property, still have massive amounts of assets that they could liquidate if the time is right and if they need to. Those people need to be dealt with after the renters. The renters are the ones who don't have those assets, who aren't able to liquidate a lot of their properties and be okay. That LaCase person could get rid of, sell off 2 of her homes, still have another home. She let me remind you, she lives in 4 homes. Well, she owns 4 homes, one that her family lives in and 3 that she rents out. She rents out 3 properties. She could sell 2 of those homes and still have a rental property. She could sell off all 3 of them and still have a home to live in for her family. Like, this person needs way less assistance from the government than any of the renters who live in those houses. Any of them.
Friends, again, the Supreme Court reached the correct effect. The Supreme Court reached what I think should have been reached by any court that cares about justice, but they didn't do so on sound premises. They did so on the premises of process. But the arguments here about this being a moral tragedy because people are losing their homes are arguments that are going to have much to do with how we feel and very little to do with the actual right and wrong of the situation. What do I mean? So ultimately, my friends, SCOTUS committed an act of justice. Justice, my friends, is simply that quality which preserves and protects my rights. And it relates to so many other different kinds of things as well. It relates to my obligations to certain moral rules, which may include an obligation to certain people as well, or an obligation to refrain from certain
moral rule. What the fuck is this guy talking? This guy sounds like he watched. You know what it sounded like? It sounded like this guy was like strapped down to a chair, and they like duct taped his eyelids open, and they forced him to watch like 30 hours of like Jordan Peterson talking. You know, it's just like the way this guy speaks, I feel like he really thinks he's like philosophical and intellectual, but it's just so much word salad.
Certain people, i.e. an obligation not to hurt my neighbor's car, or not to hurt my neighbor's property, an obligation not to commit certain actions. So sort of, justice imposes a sort of negative obligation upon us. This is the understanding of justice that the moral philosopher Hugo Grotius had. He had this understanding that justice was not necessarily this sort of chimerical, abstract idea, but it was actually a very much real thing that we can understand.
So he's just talking about negative rights? Cool. Just so you know, he just wants to talk about negative rights here.
And ascertain through the nature of things. This is also the understanding of justice that the United States Supreme Court's foundations are predicated upon.
Hey, what's
since
up?
The American experiment was also based upon this idea of natural justice. The progressives are
natural justice. Yo, if we get to go back to naturalism, does that mean I could get to return to monkey mode? Boy with the biggest stick wins. I'll fight this guy in a freaking stick battle. Okay, I've been training my pole arm. I can club this guy. It can happen. If he wants to fight, we can fight. If he wants to go to natural justice, all right, it can happen.
Approaching this issue through a sort of utilitarian calculus. They're saying that if these people are hurt or these people are wronged, this issue, or excuse me, if these people are hurt, they're therefore wronged, and therefore this issue must be something of moral tragedy. But I find it interesting.
What did he just say?
Or excuse me, if these people are hurt, they're therefore wronged, and
if these people are hurt, then they are wrong? What? Wait, did he say if they're hurt, then they are wrong or wronged? Like ED. He said wronged? Okay.
Therefore, this issue must be something of moral tragedy. But I find it interesting that they make a moral judgment on behalf of the people affected by the eviction moratorium, on behalf of actually some of the people affected by the eviction moratorium, but don't extend that same logic to other people. They don't extend the same sort of gratitude of having a moral judgment towards other people who may have been affected by the eviction moratorium, i.e. the landlords themselves. My friends.
Okay. When will anyone think of the landlords, man? Man, this country, we never protect property in America. You ever think about that? All throughout time, all throughout the history of America, we've never cared about property, ever. We've never made copious amounts of laws about property. We never put property above human lives, you know? We never even made human lives property. That's never happened. So I really think this guy is onto a point here that in the United States of America and even today, we never think about property. Who will think of the landlords, you know, with hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars of assets? Just no one ever thinks about these poor landlords, man. They're suffering out there. We're suffering out there. Your landlord is cold. Let them in.
The eviction moratorium was simply the government saying that you must have these kind of people in your property regardless of what you actually want, regardless of what your actual standards are, regardless of the particular tenets of your contract with those individuals. That's what the eviction moratorium was. Good. The eviction moratorium was an imposition on my right to use my property how I wish.
I think your property is actually less valuable to that humans that's living on the property's like right to be in a home. I think that's less valuable. You are hurt less. You have much wiggle room if things go. You have more wiggle room if things go bad. The most vulnerable person who needs to be protected in this situation is the renter and not the landlord. So I'm not sure if this person probably doesn't think that like housing is a human right or anything. I'm not sure how you have any other rights really if you don't live in like some sort of like I'm not sure if you have how you have any other rights if you're not able to be afforded things like a house, clean water, clean food, like education. There are things that we need to be able to exercise our other rights. If we don't have them, effectively they're taken away from us. So with that being said, being homeless, many rights are taken away from you in many, many places. The one of those things is the right to vote. That's taken away from you. Sometimes even being able to own a gun, you need like some place where you need like a home address for you to start to even get like a gun. Like, I mean, it's just wild to me to think that like this is more, that the landlord's right to do what they want with their property is more important than the human lives who are on their property. I have all the coconuts. If I ever talked to this guy, I'd pelt him with coconuts. Like, I'm sorry. When it comes to their money, conservatives know the difference between private and personal property. Oh yeah, no, when it comes to their money, then private and personal property, baby. You can't vote if you're homeless. In many places you need, I think maybe in even all places, you need a home address to vote. You need a real address to vote. I think in some places you can make like a homeless shelter your address, maybe. But you do need a home address to vote in many, many places. So no, you can't vote if you're homeless in a lot of places. Yeah, sleeping on the street is also illegal too. Being homeless is illegal. Like literally being homeless is illegal in many places. Yeah. So.
And in that instance, it was unjust because the eviction moratorium violated the rules of justice. Also, I think that it's very important to.
What if the landlords violate the rule of justice as well? Sure, I think kicking people out of their home during a national pandemic is unjust, and actually more unjust than someone living on a property that you already rented out to them for longer than you want. I think that's actually more unjust. Actually, yeah. I don't, if he's like accusing us and like other progressives of doing this, then he's literally doing the exact same thing, but on the other side, but just for landlords.
That no one has a right to someone else's voluntary power. No one has a right to my energy. No one has a right.
What? Fucking what? Is this like baby's first philosophy? Did we just drop out of philosophy 101? No one has a right to my voluntary power. What the fuck? I've never heard this phrase like this before. What the hell's happening? I'm genuinely shocked.
Else's voluntary power. No one has a right to my energy. No one has a right to my property. So just because someone may be,
well, in a sense they do, depending on like what you're doing. So depending on like how much power you have over another human being in society, they do have a right to your time, to your energy, to your property, to these things, because you decide to be on the market. You give up some things when you go onto the market. If someone decides to buy 4 homes, and then just sit on 4 homes, and then they keep like, they color code everything in their house by like four quadrants of the color wheel. And so everything that's like red to orange to yellow goes in one house, and everything that's like blue to green goes to another house, and everything that's like purple to pink goes to another. Like if that's what you want to do, right? You can do that. But once you enter the market as a landlord, you let go of some rights that you had to that property because you're now dealing with other people's rights. When your rights start to coincide and collide with other people's rights, one has to give. There's no possible way where we can live in a society where everyone's rights are never infringed on in any way, shape, or form for any reason, for any point in time. So we have to do something. So someone who was just born and wants to live needs to buy bread. Okay? But someone who decided to take their life and make a bread store and sell bread on the public market decided to do something that's more than the person who just wants to live. They decided to take more actions. They decided to engage in a more socially either beneficial or detrimental practice, which is owning a business. So because of that, and because of the society that you live in granted you the ability to do something like that, you have access to things like infrastructure. You can mail things through USPS. You have roads that are paid for by taxes. You got education that was paid for by taxes as well. Because of that, you need to give back to society a little bit, meaning you need to give up some rights. So to be able to kick out anyone because of their like race or religion or ethnicity or whatever, you lose that right. And so sometimes during a national pandemic where you decide to buy more houses than you physically need to live in, and then sell them on the marketplace to other people where you have the complete control over basically their entire life. You could upend and destroy their life by a mark of your pen. All right. And so when you have that amount of power over another human being, you lose some rights. I'm sorry. You lose some rights. You do. And one of those rights is being able to kick them out during a national pandemic. Sorry. I'm sorry, baby.
Impacted negatively by not being able to stay in my property if I don't want them to stay there does not mean I'm necessarily harming them. I'm simply taking something away from them or withholding something.
This is the dumbest fucking argument. He hasn't thought about this for more than 10 seconds, has he? No way. Listen, I'm not hurting someone by strangling them, okay? Me strangling them isn't taking, I'm not necessary, just because I'm making sure, just because I'm withholding air from them does not mean that I'm hurting them. You're right, that's the definition of harm. What are you talking about? Listen, me strangling someone, me withholding air from someone's lungs, it's not necessarily harm. I'm just withholding something from them. Don't give Nestle ideas? Yeah. This is so dumb. You're dumb. You're not a smart human being. This is the worst argument I've heard in my entire life. Withholding food from someone is harming them. If you have the option to give it to them, you are actually harming them. You're perpetuating that harm. I'm not harming them. Yeah, I'm just withholding what they need to survive. Wait, if this is the case, should starving someone to death not be a crime? Should strangling someone not be a crime? It's not harm. It's perfectly legal. You're just withholding something from someone. Yeah, if they could pull themselves up by their bootstraps, they could like learn how to be a raccoon, all right, and then start digging in the trash, chief. This is awful. This is an argument that someone says that they think up in the shower and then load up a YouTube video about, but have never spent another second going over this with another live human being with warm blood in their veins to think this over. This guy would absolutely be clubbed in a debate. They'd like club his head in. They'd club his head in. This is incredible to me.
That has nothing to do inherently with their rights and everything to do with the contractual agreement that I made. The eviction moratorium interrupted that contractual agreement, usurped my authority, usurped my volition as a landlord. I'm speaking in the abstract here. I'm not a landlord, obviously, but still, usurped the volition of a landlord and then immediately placed that into the hands of someone who was not a...
The government is the only reason that you have those rights to that property. The only reason. The only reason. The literal only reason. Are those landlords willing to like patrol their houses with like guns and shit to uphold that agreement? No, the cops do. The government does. There's no social contract, baby. I'm sorry. If you didn't want to be a part of it, you should have got your ass out. You should have spent that money in better ways than buying in your 17th house, chief. All right. Yeah, I'm freeing all the serial starvation killers. Listen, if you tie someone into a bag, all right, into a garbage bag, and then they die of suffocation, I'm sorry. You didn't actually harm them. All you did was took away something you're just withholding air from them, man. It's not this is the fucking Chewbacca defense. If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. This is ridiculous. No way this guy unironically believes that this is going to hold up. No way. This is wild to me. The government's the only reason why you have those rights. They protect those rights with cops that you pay taxes for, with property taxes. Like, we uphold society with the government. You didn't do it all by yourself. It didn't happen. You were ridiculous. You are dumb. To think that you have exclusive rights to something that you did not make exclusively is incredible.
Party to that transaction in the first place. That, my friends, violates the rules of justice, and that, my friend, is unjust. So even if the Supreme Court didn't reason on those premises, even if they reasoned in a sort of case law basis, a sort of legalistic basis, at least the effect is just. The problem, my friends, with...
I want to run something by one of these people, like, for once in my entire... I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him, man. Like, I don't want to do anything crazy. I just want to talk to him. I want to like walk up to this person once in my life. Okay. I want to walk up to someone like this and be like, let's say let's say you were born, all right? Unfortunate for all of us, he was born. He was born, all right? And the ground is lava. He's allergic to grass, dirt, stone, all of that shit, okay? He's allergic to all of it. All of it. And so if he touches it, he'll die. Let's say. And so he gets stranded on a metal plate in the middle of a field. So he cannot leave the plate because he'll be surrounded by grass, right? He'll die if he touches the grass. The club with a coconut? Yeah. You can't touch the grass. You're standing on the metal plate, but someone owns it, and they say that you're not able to be on that plate anymore. And then we talk morally, all right? I'm not sure if this guy's specifically a Christian or if he's any like religious denomination, but like morally speaking, is the right for that person to move someone off of that metal plate that he's not using, is that more worth protecting than the person's life who will die if he touches the grass? Are you actually that much of a ghoul? I really want one of those people to answer. Yeah, they're playing a Skyblock. All right. So imagine you're playing Skyblock and I paid $15 for that plate. Yeah. Is it moral for that person to hold up a gun to that guy and go, get off the plate, and he touches the grass and instantly dies? Is that person's death less worthy than that that metal plate? Genuinely curious. I just want to know, because if they bite the bullet and they're like, oh yeah, that person's right, then they never cared about. It's not a balance of rights. There's no balance of human rights here. Human life is just far below any property right that you could ever have. Just far below any property right that you could ever have, ever. Or let's say a tornado hits your house and someone gets impaled with your toothbrush, all right? Someone gets impaled with your toothbrush. You know, like when you get impaled with something, you're not supposed to pull it out, right? You're not supposed to pull it out. Let's say you find the guy who gets impaled in the heart, fucking Tony Stark style, with the toothbrush, and you say, I want the toothbrush back now. You want to be able to pull it out of that person's flesh, but it'll instantly kill them. Does he think the right to take that toothbrush is worth less than that person's life? I really just like to get these sorts of people on the record, because after they answer a question like that, you either prove that they're an actual fucking ghoul demon who belongs in fucking Arkham Asylum, or you find out that they're just like a complete phony who only does this because who only says this shit because they don't like the idea of someone living they only thought about this when it comes to like morally. You don't like someone like squatting in your living room and eating Stouffer's while like watching Family Feud, and you don't want them there. You're just dumb. You just spend very little time thinking about anything that happens.
So many of the progressive critiques of the Supreme Court's ruling, they are based upon what I call approximation ethics. Approximation ethics is simply this idea that ethics can be defined as what feels right or what feels wrong. It entirely consumes ethical thinking with the pathos, with the emotional energy that all of us are vested in as thinking, living human beings, as dynamic human entities. But the problem is, my friends, ethical rules and moral rules have no relation to how I feel and have every relation to what is actually observably correct. What do I mean? So when a plant
the basis of ethics is minimizing harm. Listen, if someone's living in my house and it makes me really upsetty spaghetti, that's actually worth less. That's actually more harm than someone being in a home and not living on the street. If you really think about it, have you ever thought about how the landlords are super upsetty spaghetti at people living in their homes? Have you ever thought about, come on, man, you know, stress is a really big killer these days. I mean, come on, you get bags under your eyes, you get crow's feet, your hair will fall out sooner. It then, come on. Is Black Ben Shabibo? He's sped up a little bit because I want to spend like 10 years going over this, but yeah, he's a ghoul.
Photosynthesizes. The plant does not decide the rules of photosynthesis. It simply photosynthesizes. Likewise, when gravity acts upon all of us, that is enacting upon all of us every single time, it's acting on me right now as I'm in this video, I don't get to decide the laws of gravity. I don't get to decide the rules of gravity. I can interact with them most certainly. They certainly impact me, but I don't write them. Similarly, ethical rules exist out there. We can observe them in nature. We can deduce them through reason.
You can observe ethical rules in nature? Oh my gosh, what the fuck is he talking about? As you can see, you can easily measure ethics with this stethoscope. What the fuck are you talking about, man? You're out of your mind. What objective? Oh wait, no, he's like one of those naturalist type people who are like, yeah, we have natural rules. I'm gonna go ethically rule forest. I'm gonna go ethically rule watching in the forest. Yes. Yes. If you flip over enough stones, you'll find ethical rules. They're under there, okay? I just can't. Yeah, the Large Hadron Collider. That's the whole reason why they build particle colliders. You know that? Mostly so we can find ethics and then we read them off.
And they certainly have an impact on us. They help us live responsibly and reasonably, but we do not write them. But when you assume you can begin writing ethical rules, any concrete sense of what is right, any concrete sense of what we can ascertain through reason in terms of what is right, goes away. And that is the danger here, my friends. You cannot have a good kind of politic, a moral kind of politic, when the very foundations of morality are being challenged because some things seem mean or some things seem nice. You cannot have a coherent moral system that is contingent on outrage, that is contingent upon the perspectives, the varying infinitesimal perspectives that may come into the political discussion at any moment's notice. They must be predicated upon what we can actually verify. I can verify that I have rights as a human being because those rights are simply moral powers. I have the
I'm just so upset. I'm just so tired of him talking about moral powers. Like, what are you talking about? Is he like a Power Ranger man? Does he have quirks like he's in the My Hero universe? My moral powers are finally manifesting themselves. Ah, yes, I can feel it. Landlord power, go evict autistic children. Like, this is awful. This is terrible. This is the worst possible. This is the actual garbage tier politics. Yeah, good night. Take care.
I have the power to, with the natural law theory, which is what America is predicated upon, assumes.
That's not true.
It assumes that if disharmony is taking place, the obligations that follow from our being, our nature, cannot be fulfilled. And therefore, those are moral wrong. This is not simply a matter of being able to adhere to certain processes. This is a matter of understanding that the fact that our life has certain standards that it can adhere to.
This is just crazy. This is just fucking crazy talk, man. Like, the Constitution talks about what the government can't do, not what it can, but...
I'm a fan of someone getting thrown out of their house for any reason, even if it may be a just reason. It sits wrong with me. However, I understand that which sits wrong with me is not that which concerns morality. It is that which concerns my feelings. Perhaps if we actually observed the nature of morality, as opposed to getting bogged down in pathos and tied up in pathos, perhaps we'd have a much different political discourse in this country. Perhaps rage wouldn't cement and overtake our hearts and usurp our ability to think.
This shit is cringe as fuck. If you dislike my content, stop watching. And don't worry about the abortion videos coming up soon. No. 5 hours ago? No, I think I'd rather escape. Actually, I can't do this shit. This shit's cringe as hell. I can't even imagine that someone would come up with such awful arguments. It's actually offensive to not only me, but the people who were viewing that, to think that that would be persuasive. And it's more offensive to the people who raised them for them to actually believe that that was a persuasive argument. That was just laughably bad.